Hey everyone, this is Brian from ActiveMelody.com. A few weeks ago I posted on Active Melody's Facebook page asking what songs people would like to learn. I got a lot of responses back, some really good suggestions. So I made a list and I'm trying to get through some of that list. And anyway, one of the suggestions was When Cries by Jimi Hendrix. And I'm sorry I can't remember who suggested that, but I thought that was a great one for a lot of reasons. It's a song that you can do as a beginner, intermediate, or advanced player. There's something in it for everyone, really. And it also works on an acoustic or an electric guitar. Now, obviously, Hendrix played it on electric, but you can do it on either one. But it's just a fun song to play, and it's just all around. It's one of those recognizable things that if you ever break into that, everyone knows immediately what it is. So if you don't like me on Facebook, it's facebook.com/ActiveMelody. It's a great way to interact and stay in touch. I always post new lessons there, so that's how you can kind of find out what's going on. And plus, you can make requests and things. I can't always get to them, but I try. So anyway, let's break down When Cries Mary. We're going to break down the lead and the rhythm parts. So before we get started, I think it's important to mention that I am in standard tuning. I know Hendrix would play, usually play in E-flat tuning. And so with E-flat, you tune everything down a half step. So your E becomes an E-flat. And so I've never really done well with that. I know a lot of guitar players do that. Stevie Ray Vaughan would play in E-flat tuning, for example. And the reason that the guitar players do that is there's less tension on the string, so you can do these more intense bends and things. But I just like standard tuning. I've never been one of those guys that I don't like retuning my guitar anyway, and yeah, so that's just me. But I'm going to teach this in standard tuning. So the first thing that happens is this little 3-chord progression that sounds like this. And what those chords are, that's a D sharp, an E, and an F. And let me show you how I'm playing them. What I'm doing is I'm starting here, I'm barring the 6th fret with my pointer finger. And then I take my pinky. So there's two ways you can do this. Most people, when they make a chord this way, I usually see them using their ring finger. But for whatever reason, my hand just fits better. For my hand, it's easier for me to use my pinky. So do this however you want with your ring finger or pinky. But the goal is to bar the first 4 strings on the 8th fret in this case. And so what you're going to play then, you can actually play strings 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2. You would not play string 1, so you wouldn't play that E string when you're doing those kind of chords. But you can actually get away with most of that. Now to play a proper D sharp chord and using this sort of shape, you would place just the middle 4 strings, so strings 5, 4, 3, and 2. You can throw in that bass note though for When Cries Mary. In fact, when my ear hears that, when I hear Hendrix playing it, I think he's kind of playing kind of those bottom 4 strings, so, or even bottom 3, but it's got this kind of growl when you throw in that 6th string. So that's what's going on there. It's just that shape. That's literally it. So again, it's a bar on the 6th fret, barring the entire all 6 strings with your pointer finger, and then either your pinky or your ring finger barring the first 4 strings on the 8th fret. And then when you're strumming, you're kind of strumming, those strings 6, 5, 4, and 3. That's kind of how I do it. But if you accidentally hit this string 2, it's okay too. See. It doesn't affect it. So what you're doing is you're just walking that shape from here. You're going up a fret, and then you're going up a fret. So it's just walk up like that. Got it? That's the first part. Now the second part, he does this really cool thing where he goes, and that's something Hendrix used all the time. So if he's playing a C chord, he would come up here and grab that. It allows him to do this. I think it's kind of a pedal steel. I always kind of think of it as country. And I was explaining. It was funny. I was explaining that to my wife the other day, and she said, "Well, there's no Hendrix doesn't do country, but I think there's some influence there. I think it's like a pedal steel thing, but I could be wrong. Anyway, that sounds country to me. So what you're doing for that piece is, after this, okay, so let's start here again at the beginning. We're going to walk up to this point. Now at this point, I'm barring with my pointer finger here, I'm barring the 8th fret, and my pinky is barring, so we're skipping a fret, but my pinky's barring the 10th fret, first 4 strings. That's that F chord. That's how I'm playing it up here. Now that I'm in position for that, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pinky off. I'm going to leave my pointer finger kind of barring everything, except the only difference is I kind of shift it away from the 6th string, so I'm not barring the 6th, so I'm really barring 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And the reason I do that is it just gives me a little more leverage, because you don't have to be barring, you don't have to include that 6th string. But I do keep the bar there, and then I take, at this point I do take my ring finger, and then I do this little hammer-on thing where I go, and all I'm playing there, I'm just playing 2 strings. I'm playing string 5 and 4, and I'm hammering on to the, so I'm playing strings 5 and 4 on the 8th fret, but I'm hammering on to the 5th string on the 10th fret, like this. But I'm playing the 2 strings, so it sounds like this. Okay? That's your goal, just that. It's pretty easy to do. With a pick, you're just pick 1 downstroke. Just string 5 and 4. So, in the beginning, you're going to want to make sure you hit it open, and then you hammer on. So you're not doing it like this. You're just hitting it once, and then you're hammering on, meaning putting your finger down, hammering that finger down onto the string. And that's how you do that hammer on. So here's where we are in context. Now, just like we did with those first 3, we're going to walk that same thing that we just learned up a fret at a time. So we're going to go just like that. So by the time you're on the last one, you're barring the 10th fret, and you're hammering on to the 12th fret, 5th string. And the thing is to point out, here's your lesson in this, what we just did here, we just played the same 3 chords that we did in the beginning. They're just repeats of it, but in a different voicing. So if that's a D sharp, for example, that's a D sharp. If that's an E, sorry, that's an E. And if that's an F, this is an F. So what Hendrix did there was he found a sort of a creative way, instead of just repeating it twice, instead of just doing the same thing, he just kind of switched voicing and played those same chords but in a different way. And I love that. Now, I've heard him do this live, and he doesn't always hammer on like that. You can play it like this. You can just slide it up. I've heard him do it that way. So obviously, you don't have to do it, verbatim the way I'm teaching you, but at least you'll get the sort of the gist of the song. Okay, and then at the end of that, he does, and he comes down to the C. So when you play that hammer on to the 12th fret, 5th string, then we're going to come up and play the 10th fret, 4th string, 12th fret, 4th string, back to the 10th fret, 4th string, and then back to the 12th fret, 5th string. So it's, here it is slowly. So again, I'm just hammering on that, just like we did, playing those strings 5 and 4, hammering onto the 12th fret, 5th string. Okay, and what that does is that allows us to get in position to now slide down to the C chord. And so I'm playing the C chord, the exact same pattern, shape that I just showed you how to play here. So, you know, a lot of you are going to want to, you hear a C chord and you go, oh, okay, yeah, I got a C chord, it's like this, right? That's not how we're going to play it. We're going to play it like this, where we bar, you know, the 3rd fret with our pointer finger, and we take our, again, it depends on if you do this with your pinky or ring finger, but you take your, in my case, pinky, and you bar the first 4 strings on the 5th fret. And if you play those middle 4 strings, you get a C that way. And the reason we want to do the C that way is, for one, it matches sort of the voicing of what we've already done. So your mind is already kind of there. But it allows you to, you know, just to slide that around, just like you've been sliding that same shape down here, and play those notes that way. And it kind of matches the feel of the song. So anyway, you don't want to have open ringing strings. I don't think it would work, especially the way that Hendrix would play with an electric. So that's the first thing, is that C. Now, the next chord we're going to play is a B flat. But the way that I'm going to play the B flat is, instead of playing it like this, remember how I showed you the other way you could play it? Remember how we learned a D sharp here, and then we learned it like this? You're going to play, instead of playing the B flat like this, we're going to do it like this. So the only difference is I'm barring on the 3rd fret. I'm really kind of barring the first 5 strings, and then I'm putting my ring finger down on the 5th fret, 5th string. So the difference is, if you think of it, if you strip away all of the kind of the nonsense, the common notes are these 3. Notice they're the same. I'm sorry, if we're playing the B flat, these 3 are the same if I'm doing it like this or like this. The only thing that's changing is the bass note. The bass note was here, now it's going to be here. Alright, so the way we do that B flat is, and what I'm doing is I'm taking my ring finger and I'm starting on the 3rd fret, 5th string, sliding up to the 5th fret, throwing down that bar on the 3rd fret. So I'm barring strings 1 through 4. So now when I'm playing, though, I'm actually only playing the middle 2 strings. So I'm playing string 4 and 3. And then I'm going to hammer on to the 5th fret, 4th string. So altogether, that B flat part sounds like this. And again, it's just a variation on it. You could play it straight, you could go. But I think the way that I heard Hendrix do it was, it just gives you kind of a nice twist. So again, you come down to the C. Okay, and now we go to the F. And the F chord, the way that you're going to play it in this is, you're really only going to play strings 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we're going to bar the first 2 strings on fret 1 with our pointer finger. You're going to push that across both of those strings. Then you're going to take your middle finger and push it down on the 2nd fret, 3rd string. And then your ring finger goes down on the 3rd fret, 4th string. And those are the only 4. You're not going to fret anything else. You're only going to play those 4 strings of the F. And here's what gives it that, again, that pedal steel country thing. You're going to release your middle finger and hammer it on to give this sound. So, so again, it's important to note that this, the middle, everything stays. The middle finger is the only thing that's coming off and going on to give it that sound. So let's back up. Let's do the whole thing up to this point to put it all in context for you. So here's the beginning. And here's down to the C. Now down to the F. There's that little hammer on. And then we're going to repeat that. And this time I'm going to go, instead of doing, I'm just going to do a twist, and I notice Hendrix does that, and it's very easy to do. It's just barring those, keeping that bar on the first two strings, first fret, and you're just going to hammer on to the 3rd fret, 2nd string, and then play just those 2 strings again, barred on the 1st fret. So it's, so the first time through he goes, the second time through he goes, and then we're back to the C, back to the F, and again, like the first part, you know, the hammer on with the middle finger. Okay, and then to get us back, this part is actually really easy to do because you're just going to take this F shape, we're going to slide it up 2 frets so that you're barring now the first 2 strings on the 3rd fret, and we're going to play. So when we slide it up here to the 3rd fret, so that's barring the 3rd fret, we keep that shape. The only difference is we're going to hammer on our pinky now to the 5th fret, 2nd string. So it's like, see my pinky back there? It's going to come down. And we're going to do that same thing. We're going to slide it up 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3. We're going to slide up 3 more frets and do the pinky thing again. This time your pinky would go down on the 7th, 8th fret, 2nd string. And that's how that sounds. And so that's what gets you back into position, which is nice because from a neck perspective, you're right in position to go right back into. Notice you're right there on that, you know, so you're barring the 6th fret. All you got to do is complete the bar now, and you're right back, and you've done a loop. And that's really all there is to that whole rhythm part of the song. So let me do the whole thing. I'll do it a little bit slower so that you can have it in context. I'm not going to repeat each part, but I'll play them so that at least you have it as a reference. So here we go. And there you have it. There's the rhythm to When Cries Mary. Now, let's go into the solo. I don't have to split this into a separate lesson because this is fairly easy to do. A lot of repetition here, and that's why I think this would be good for even a beginner. This is something that, you know, kind of once you get one shape, you can just kind of move it around on the neck and create the rest of the song. So what happens in the solo is he goes. It starts with a. This little thing. So let's start with this. Now the first thing that happens is, in theory, what he's doing is he's just playing the F now an octave higher. So you know how you played the, you barred, when you play an F, you're barring those first 2 strings on the 1st fret. We're going to go 12 frets higher than that, so we're going to go up to the 13th fret. It's a solid octave higher, and play the F up here. And so the first thing that he does is he goes. And what I'm doing there is I'm barring those 2 on the 13th fret, and then I'm going to do a hammer on to the 15th fret, 2nd string. And then he just kind of slides. Then I'm going to take that same shape, same principle. This time I'm going to come down to the I can't count today. 5, 6, 7, 8th fret. We're going to come down to the 8th fret, and I'm going to go. I'm going to do a hammer on again. This time I'm hammering onto the 10th fret, 2nd string. So I'm going to play. Notice what I'm doing there. So I'm hammering onto the 10th fret, 2nd string, letting go, and then coming down and hammering on the 10th fret, 3rd string. So it creates this little thing where you're just doing this hammer on. You're skipping a fret and then doing a hammer on the 2nd string, hammer on the 3rd string, and your fingers kind of bouncing around. So. Okay, so, and then he does this the first time through the solo. He does it slowly. He kind of picks it apart the first time, and then the second time through he goes. Now, if for beginners that might be hard, and you don't have to do it. Like if you hear him do it live, he does it different every time anyway. So I think he was probably just doing it live for the recording, more or less. But for those of you that do want to know how he's doing that, it's just a real quick hammer-on pull-off. It's the same notes. Here's what it looks like in slow motion. Notice my right hand, one pick, and then another pick to follow it up. When you do the pull-off, kind of flick it. See, I'm kind of almost like pulling it like that. So then I put my ring finger down on the 10th fret 4th string, and I'm going to slide up to the 12th fret 4th string with my ring finger. Then we're going to come to the 8th fret, the 10th fret 3rd string with my pointer finger, 12th fret 3rd string with the ring finger. Then we're going to do a hammer-on. That time the hammer-on goes between the 10th fret and the 12th fret on the 3rd string. So you're hammering on the 3rd string, 12th fret. So those notes sound like this. So the first one's a slide. And Hendrix applies this crazy vibrato, so he goes something like that. And his vibrato was different because he was playing left-handed, so everything was upside down. And I think he kind of pulled when he, I push when I'm doing a vibrato. But if it's upside down, I think you're kind of pulling. So you can, because you're pulling, I think you have, I don't know, maybe you have more strength. Well, some of it has to do with the tuning as well, but he would always just do these crazy vibratos. That's about as close as I can get. All right, so and then he repeats that. If you listen to the song, he'll repeat that a few times. I didn't repeat that in the intro video, but when Hendrix does it, he just kind of keeps doing that, and he does it again. He does it like 3 times, and then the 4th time, he goes, instead of doing the little, again, up here, this little F thing, he comes up and he goes. So what he's doing is he's coming up. The nice thing is it's the same little shape over and over again. This time he's barring the first 2 strings on the 15th fret, so we're getting pretty high in the neck. So those of you on an acoustic guitar, well, I sort of lied in the beginning. I said that you could do this on an acoustic or electric. The rhythm you can, the lead, I don't know. If you've got a cutaway, maybe you can pull this off, but pretty high in the neck. But what I'm doing there is I'm barring the first 2 strings on the 15th fret, and I'm doing a hammer on to the 17th fret 2nd string. It's that same little thing we've done over and over again, just like that. And then we're going to come down and take the same shape and we're going to play it on the first two strings. We're going to borrow the first two strings on the 10th fret and we're going to play. And all I'm doing, it's the same thing we've already done, borrowing the first two strings on the 10th fret, hammering onto the 12th fret 2nd string for this. And then I'm coming down and playing the 12th fret 3rd string, so you'll recognize that same thing from what we did here. So it's kind of clever, I guess. He's taken this kind of pedal steel lick and he's applying it kind of all over. And it works really well in that solo. So let me back up and play the whole thing up to this point just so you have it as a reference. So we have. And that's where it just kind of keeps repeating. And then we come to this, what I just showed you. Okay, and then we come down to this thing where he goes. And what he's doing there, and remember the F thing, remember how we learned in the rhythm? It's the same, so the second part of that, so we started on the G. Remember how we came up to here? It's the same thing. So all we're doing is we're grabbing that F shape again. I'm going to hammer onto the 2nd string on the 8th fret. And then I'm going to hammer onto the 3rd string on the 8th fret. So you have. Notice my pinky, it's just bouncing between the 2nd string and the 3rd string on the 8th fret. And so, all right, let me just back up and play a little bit of this to put it in context. Then it comes. And what he's doing there is, again, it's. Here it is slowly. And then there's that cool little solo thing he does where he goes. And for that, it's just he's really just playing the minor pentatonic scale here on, with the root fret being the 9th fret. But there's a bend on the 12th fret. The 12th fret is sort of a full bend. And then you come up and you play on the 9th fret 1st string. So those are your first two notes. There it is slowly. Then we come back and play the 12th fret 2nd string. This time we don't bend it. So the first 3 notes are. Okay. Now, while you put down the 12th fret 2nd string, then I'm going to take my middle finger and come down here to the 11th fret 3rd string, and I'm going to do this little I call it kind of a Chuck Berry bend, but it's really a. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a full bend on the 11th fret 3rd string, and then I'm just barring the 9th fret, the first 2 strings, and playing those 2. So it's all together, it's like this. So, backing up, here's what we have thus far. And that's the hardest part of it. And then to close that out, it's just another bend on the 11th fret 3rd string. And then he just plays the 9th fret 3rd string with a really heavy vibrato. And the hardest part of that's going to be doing the bend, muting it. Notice my right hand just kind of mutes it. So he doesn't finish the bend. A lot of times when you bend, you're gonna naturally want to play it so that we can hear the release of the bend. But the way he did it, he just went. So it's. slowly, it sounds like this. Let's see, and then we just returns to the. He returns to the F part, so he's borrowing the first 2 strings on the 13th fret, doing that same little country lick where you hammer onto the 15th fret 2nd string. Back to here, which is the 8th fret, first 2 strings, borrowing the first 2 strings. That's just how we started again. So it's just hammering onto the 10th fret 2nd string and 10th fret 3rd string. There's the 10th fret 3rd string. And then to close it, he does this thing where he goes. And for that, I'm borrowing the 10th fret, first 4 strings, and I'm playing strings 4. This is string 4 on the 10th fret. I'm going to hammer onto the 12th fret 4th string, and then I'm going to pick the 10th fret 3rd string, just like that. Then back to the 12th fret 4th string, back to the 10th fret 4th string. So notice this bar doesn't move, it stays down the whole time. Practice doing that. Okay. The last 2 notes are, I do it by stretching I keep the bar, that never leaves, but I stretch my ring finger to the 13th fret on the 5th string, just like that, and then I bring it back to the 12th fret on the 5th string, and once I hit that, you can actually finish the chord. Notice again though, that bar never leaves. Hear it slowly. And that's how you end the song. So there's When Cries Mary. Let me play the whole thing, including the solo. I'll play a little bit slower so that you have it as a reference. So here we go. And solo. And there you have it. There's When Cries Mary. So that's all I have for this one. Well, that's all I have for this lesson. Hopefully you've enjoyed When Cries Mary. It's been a lot of fun to teach and play. If you'd like to stay in touch, you can always subscribe to this channel, wherever that's at on the YouTube page. You can also like me at facebook.com/activemelody, or follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/activemelody, or you can just go to www.activemelody.com and stay in touch that way. So I hope to see you soon.